Wagwan again, family. Now, you probably had no idea that Unstoppable Live, the talk show, had shows stemming all the way from 2018, right? Yes, all the way from 2018. Now, with it coming from that far, there is a possibility that there are many shows that streamed on the channel way back then that you've never ever seen, and that is the reason why the recap channel is so important, because over here is where you get the opportunity to get a short version of the show that you never saw on the live channel, right? Because since we started the recap channel, so many persons reached out or even commented down in the comment section and said, Unstoppable, we love the recap idea because I've been such a long time supporter and I've never seen this show or I've never heard this story, right? So the recap channel has come in handy for many persons. So that's why you need to hit that subscribe button right now so that you don't miss a recap once we upload one to the platform, right? So with that out of the way, let's jump into today's recap. Now, on the live channel, we cover many topics, right? And one of the many topics is the green card story. You know, at one point there were many persons reaching out wanting to share their green card stories, whether it be a wife married to a husband and the husband used her for green card or vice versa, right? And today, this is what this recap is all about. Now, this lady shared that she was introduced to a man, a Jamaican man, of course, and you know, she fell in love with him, got married to him really fast, and just like that, the marriage also ended really fast. She shared that only after a very short period of time after being married, the sex part of the marriage literally went null and void, right? She also shared that at some point she even felt used, like it was only for him to get status in the country. Family, take a listen to this one that was shared on Unstoppable Live.
Met this person at a party, was introduced to the person by the person's mother. And I should have really, as old folks used to say, take fleet mark this, because the first introduction was, hey, you're not married yet. It was like a joke, but I didn't take it seriously at that time. But introduction was, hey, you're not married yet. I said, no, sir. Miss Son, I look somebody to married to, you know. Um, so my response was, well, man, I look nobody to married to unless I love me, I'm married to. So anyway, with that said, that night, you know, we kind of struck a conversation. The young man and I, we started talking, you know, exchange numbers and everything. So when we exchange numbers now, I wasn't living in the same city as that person. So I would have to travel maybe 45 minutes to get home. After the party, I stayed at some friend's house, went home the next day, but we struck up a conversation. We talked night after night, and you know, I kind of get to a little insight into persons, in the person's life when he was, you know, when he said he was back in Jamaica. He had came up, overstayed his welcome, and I knew that, so that wasn't an issue. I definitely knew that, and I knew that at some point, with the fact that you know I kind of I'm getting to like this person, then you know I don't know what could happen, but I've been in a marriage before. It didn't work out, and I said, well, I'm at an age now where I think I might need to try to settle down. So with that being said, you know, I I did not let anything bother me. The fact that he don't have any money and stuff like that. So I went ahead and we started having conversations and stuff, and started talking and talking and talking night after night. So anyway, I finally started getting to love this person, and we I was invited to a party, another party, and when I was invited to that party, I went and stayed at a friend's of mine house again, and we kind of get it in. Then I started spending weekends with the person and his parents. Spending weekends with the person and his friend. I'm a person who doesn't like to leave my house, like to stay at somebody's house. And the fact that I went and I did that, I felt like, no, I'm changing. Something is wrong. But then I realized that I was getting to love this person. Little did I know that the feeling was mutual, because, and I'm going to skip. during the whole time, and after we got married and we're living together, there was one thing the person used to say to me, and he would say, you, what was it? He said, you're living in a dreams or something like that. I will remember the correct concept later on. But after I spent some time with him, started spending time at his mom's house. Then I would go home the next day because I'm a profession. I have a profession where I have to be home like Monday to Friday. So I went home, come back on weekends, and during that whole process, I never really asked the guy for anything because I know he didn't have anything. I would buy my grocery, buy my gas, do everything that I need to do, pay my rent, everything without getting anything or asking him for anything because that wasn't my agenda. So we ended up getting married in April. Now, after we got married in April, this is when everything kind of started going downhill. So we got married in April of 2018. Now it's 2020. 2018 we got married. After we got married, you know, things were kind of okay. I was still living over there, and he was living over here. So the fact that I'm not here Monday to Friday, I would only see him on weekends, and I only saw him when I came over here because I would have to drive like an hour every weekend, an hour to an hour from, and because he couldn't drive because he didn't have any documentation to drive. So I really didn't see that as an issue, and I also had my son involved in it. So with the fact that I got married, and even though I had to take those trips back and forth, I wasn't worried about what's going to happen because I was thinking of a future with him. So in maybe about, I'm gonna skip to June. About June, there was a party, and I realized that the party was like 12 o'clock in the night, and I realized that the person's phone was blowing up. So I happened to look at the phone and I saw this picture of this young lady. So after I saw the picture, he went outside to talk on the phone. So when I went out there, and when I went out there, I said to the person, I said, why is that person calling you this time of the night? It's after 12. I said, why are they calling you this time of the night? Aren't you married? So then the person, I would say, and then I told him, I said, call back the person because now I came out here, you hung up the phone, you don't want to talk to the person. I said, go ahead, talk to the person. So he refused to talk to the person. So I was very upset because I'm thinking, no, he has something to hide. And I wasn't fully living in this area as yet, or with him yet, because I was still travel back and forth while he's there with his friends. Because of my job, I didn't want to like leave here every day to go, and I wouldn't want to live at any parent's house. Because I'm a grown woman. So I said, okay. I said, why is she calling you? So he told me that, oh, that's my ex-girlfriend. And he was having an attitude, oh, well, I can't tell who to call me and who not to call me. You want me to tell everybody that I'm married. And, he was saying some hurtful stuff. So I was upset and I'm like, well, well, that's it. I'm not going to do this anymore. Forget it. Then, I went to the house, let his mama know what's going on. I had kind of developed a relationship with the mother because to me, we were able to talk because one thing that I skipped out that made me kind of um, be so vulnerable or trustworthy to them was I knew of her. I didn't know her, but I knew of her in the college that I went to back in Jamaica. Because when we started talking, I'm like, "Oh, you're so and so." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I know of you or whatever." So with that being said, I'm like, oh, "Okay, well, that person is not a complete stranger because I knew the mother, and the fact that I know of the mother, I'm thinking, well, these are my people, so they're gonna have my back, and I'm gonna have their back." So anyway, after that incident with the phone, that night I saw a different side of him that I've never seen before. Because I said, well, you need to let her know you're married because apparently she don't know. When I look back at it now, I realized that was silly. But in my heat, I said, you need to let her know you're married. So you need to call her and let her know you're married. So he called her. After he called her, he was talking to her, and I'm gonna tell you this. I could hear the pain in his voice when he was telling her, "Oh, we can't talk like this anymore. my wife said we can't talk like this anymore because now I'm married. And I could see, and I said, let me talk to her. And I took the phone and I said, I've heard a lot about you. I know that you had a history, but you need to understand that he's married now. And the fact that he's married, then you need to give him his space. I don't expect you to be calling him 1 o'clock at night. I mean, if y'all gonna talk, it's okay to talk during the day, but at night when he should be with his wife, I don't expect any conversation. So she was kind of like understanding and everything, but then he took the phone from me and like, oh, I'll talk to you later. That's what he said to her. And then at that time, I saw like I hate to say it like this, but I saw like the devil coming out of him. And he was saying to me, like, I can't understand why you did that. And say, oh, you're wicked. Oh, you're wicked. So, and I said to him, I said, look, and he was getting loud. It wasn't my place, but he was getting loud. And, I'm like, you need to lower your voice. And he was still being loud. And I said, you need to lower your voice. And I said, you know what? The next time you say something about me being wicked, it's going to be a last time. So I went into the house, and the person at the party kind of maybe sensed what was going on. But I went into the house. I was upset. I kind of like stopped enjoying myself and everything. But after that scenario, I realized things were kind of going downhill. But the fact that I had gotten married, everybody where I was living at were happy for me because they always said, well, so and so, it's time for you to find a good person, settle down, and somebody who your son really likes, and my son to kind of get to like this kid, this guy. So anyway, after that scenario, we kind of like patched things up, but things were not the same. When it comes on to romance and stuff like that, there was nothing going on. And then I kind of think, I started feeling a little bit, what you call it, used, but not to the extent where I want to stop everything. Because at that time, I was thinking, well, maybe he's stressed out and he's pressured about the whole scenario that he is not legal and stuff like that. So I went ahead and I said, okay, maybe if I can't put in the paperwork and stuff like that, then, he would feel more comfortable and, he would be at peace. So anyway,
You said you got married in 2018. How soon after you got married all these issues started?
no, it started that July, that June, July. That was when it started.
Only a couple months after you got married, issues started already?
Couple months after we got married, the issue started.
How long you said
And
you was
what I
dating the person for before you got married?
maybe a few months before. And you know what had fooled me? I was watching this show, Married at First Sight. So I'm thinking, well, maybe, people get married and if they want stuff to work, they'll make it work. I mean, there's nothing named love at first sight, but people grow to love each other. And the fact that he sounded so genuine, he sounded genuine. And then he would like tell me a lot of stuff that happened to him, a lot of bad stuff, and how he suffered in Jamaica, and how sometimes he had sleepless nights, sometimes he don't have no food to eat, and stuff like that. So my heart really goes out to him because I know being here in the US, there's so many opportunities. And, I've had family, I'm a family oriented person. So, and the fact that he said, well, he's ready to settle down and stuff like that, I said, okay, because I didn't have a man at that time. So I kind of like, got into him and my heart went out to him. And then that's how it all started. So in July, something happened in July that really made me kind of, I really didn't pull out to get all together, and I still try to think, well, I'm a person who just, if I have an issue, I just stop talking to the person, drop it, move on. But I told myself, well, we're married, so, and then my son liked this person, and he's not, well, I mean, he don't take on to people real quickly. So the fact that he liked this person, I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna do my best, try to maintain or nurture this relationship. Little did I know that it was just one sided. So in that month, we had in that month that I was on break based on my job. I had the whole summer. So at that point, I had decided to move from my previous dwelling into the city, that's where we got married and where I'm living right now. So after that, in July, I went ahead and we start preparing to do the paperwork. So I remember one time his mama went to visit another country. So and he was still over here. I don't remember how it went, but one week I was over there. I didn't move yet because I didn't move until August. So I was over there and he was over there, and I was calling him and he wouldn't pick up. So, as a woman, you're gonna call a man a few times, they don't pick up, and I just got upset. I'm like, well, if he don't pick up when he's calling me, he's not gonna get me. So, I went ahead, which was maybe not right now. I'm thinking, oh, I shouldn't have done it, but I went ahead and I blocked his phone. But when I blocked him, I didn't block his mom at that moment because I said, you know what? I know he's gonna reach out to her, and then she's gonna reach out to me. So that was when I realized that she was just as disrespectful as him because she called my phone. And I didn't answer the phone, but I got a voice message and I still have the voice message. And she was so rude in her conversation, you would think she was talking to not a grown woman, like to a child. And sometimes we don't talk to child in the kind of way because we have to think of their feelings, you know. And then I called her back. And when I called her back, I said, look, I really don't appreciate you calling my phone and saying stuff like that because you don't know what happened. You know, apparently he was playing dominoes with his friend and he just didn't want to pick up because he was playing dominoes. And I told her, I said, if, don't talk to me like that again. Don't call my phone like that again or whatever. And she apologized. So I had moved on. In August, I went ahead and I filed the paperwork. After I filed the paperwork, you know,
But
we were still having a lot of
all
issues.
right, see, that's the thing. That's what I was about to ask you, because only a couple months after the marriage,
Hmm.
problems started, right?
Right.
And why did you feel as if, okay, things would get better? Why would you even continue the paperwork if only after a couple months everything started to go downhill? Why did you still decide to consider to, well, you know what, let me still go through with this paperwork?
And you know what? That's a question I keep asking myself. And I'm not gonna say I shouldn't have done it because my thing is, um, I was just thinking and based on how he's talking, like, well, he's not contented because he's not straight, and that may have been the reason why he's acting up and stuff like that. So, I just went ahead and filed it. And then the fact that I was already married to him and I kind of like take marriage, as some kind of covenant, I said, well, let me just go ahead. And you know what? He had mentioned annulment in that very same time we're having issues, but I didn't even think of it. Listen, I was very vulnerable. And I think I was really hoping that he would love me.
You
So
said,
I think,
wait a minute. You said he mentioned what? Annulment?
annulment. He at one point when we were fussing, he said, "Well, why don't we just annul the marriage?" And I'm like, "How are we gonna annul the marriage? I mean, what grounds are we gonna do it on?"
Let
But
me
I
ask you.
really never did my.
Let me ask you this
Hmm.
question. So you met him. You all two were dating for a little while before you decided to get married. That's what you said, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Did he propose to you?
Well, he just asked me to marry him, and I'm not gonna say he proposed. He just asked me, like, you know,
See, the reason
he
why I'm
just
asking,
asked me.
if he proposed to you is because I'm trying to figure out if you asked him to marry him or he asked you to marry him, because it seems like you're the one who really wanted this wedding or this marriage.
I really wanted to settle down and have a family. That's what I really wanted
Mm-hmm.
because I'm a family oriented person and I was living in the area I lived in for years, like, for over a decade, over 10 years. And then, I've had a relationship. I decided, well, it's not going to go that way. Married, decided, well, we went our separate ways. And then I'm thinking, well, you know, I mean, I need, not need, but I wanted that, you know, satisfaction or, I wanted a family. I wanted my son to have like a stable family
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. So that's really why I put myself out there for that.
Okay.
Does that make sense? I don't know,
Okay.
but all along, but yes. So he had mentioned an annulment, but because I didn't do my research, so I didn't know what grounds, and I really honestly didn't want it to annul. I wanted to make it work, so I was kind of pushing to make it work.
So basically, you were trying to fight for this marriage more than him, then, is what you're saying?
Yes, yes, and I remember now exactly what he used to tell me, and if he's listening, I want him to understand that I understand what he meant. No, he always said, "You're living in your head. You're living in your head." No, I understand what he meant by when he said, "You're living in your head," and he'll know exactly who he is. He always say this to me, unstoppable,
Mm-hmm.
and I always question like, "Oh, I'm not living in my head. What you mean?" But and I really never took time out to think what try to figure out what the hell he meant when he said, "I'm living in my head."
Mm-hmm.
But
So,
now after everything, and I reflect, this was so much one sided. To me, it meant you're the only one think you're married. I have a happy married life. So after that, I moved over here in August. Start a new job, like a different same profession, but I relocated. So after I relocated now, well, I'm like, okay, I'm fully accessible. We live together fully now, so let me see what's gonna happen. I done file the paperwork. There should be some contentment and everything. So this is really when stuff started getting really, really crazy. Um, it's like every night we just talk and talk. Then it would be it would not be any kind of romance.
wait, see,
And
this,
I'm a
wait, stop this, stop this, stop this. I'm just not gonna ask you that question there. I'm not gonna make you speed up, left me, I'm just not gonna ask you that question because
oh my god,
remember, I can
yeah,
remember in the beginning, I heard you say there was no kind of sexual contact between you and him after a period of time, right? Now,
exactly.
after 3 months of marriage, sexual contact stop or get less, I should say. Which one? Stop or get or lessened? Which one?
What do you say?
What happened after they get married? It stopped overall or it just get
No,
less?
it didn't stop fully. Little or no, little or no. We would go for weeks without anything. And me with my I thought I had developed a relationship with the mother. And for those of you who are listening, a lot of times when you think you have a good relationship with the mother, they're just one sided. I thought I had a good relationship with the mother, and I would say stuff to her like, just to confide in her because that's pretty much the only family
But
I
wait
know
no.
at this
But wait
moment.
no, you know me ask you what I want to ask you yet. You just run left me see him way.
Oh, sorry.
You just run left me see him way.
Sorry.
Right. So what
Okay.
I want to ask you is this. You say after 3 months, it became little or no sexual connection between you and him. Despite you
Hmm.
was still wanting him to sort you out the right way, right? All
Exactly.
right.
Yes,
So
sir.
after 3 months, little to none. So at what point did things kick off back again? I never get back to that.
Well, it never get back to that, right? But there are times when I hate to say this, but there are times when if I want something, I'll initiate it and make stuff happen. And
Mm,
at some point, I decided, you know what, that's not the way to go.
okay.
So so
So
so
you think it
now
was a
after
case that he wasn't attracted to you anymore, or was it that him probably did have somebody else around?
it has to be that he had somebody else
Okay.
because I know he wouldn't just stop talking to that person.
Mm-hmm.
And he had all the opportunities in the world because when I leave here in the morning, I don't come back until 5 or 6 in the evening. So he had all the opportunities, whether it's a phone, whatever, or somebody in the area. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know. And I had confided in the mother, because I'm like, okay, we talk. So I'm like, we have stuff in common, and I would say like, it's a long time since whatever, whatever. We haven't done anything, And instead of I'm kind of saying stuff to get support, but instead of getting a support, I would hear hmm, I like, well, a long time me not do nothing neither, something like that, and I would say, well, you've been married for years and years and years, and we just got married, so that shouldn't be a reason. And then there was and I kind of realized that I wasn't getting the support, but I didn't altogether stop talking to her. I would still like from time to time say stuff to her, and she disappointed in him. And I'm gonna tell her this straight up. Most of the times when she's bashing him, I would kind of say, say stuff like, well, there's a lot of opportunity. He's going, he will be successful. Or if some little petty things, I would kind of say, well, I don't think he meant that and stuff like that. But I'm just kind of thinking, no, maybe it was just a play. They were both playing me
Mm-hmm.
because he kind in the beginning said how she was treating him a certain kind of way, and he wanted to get out of her apartment and stuff like that. And then in no time, they were buddies where he would confide in her and tell her everything. So I'm like, I think everything was a game. Everything was just a play.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I'm in September. So August, I move over here. Things that weren't all that, we would have sex as, at all or whatever. And then like maybe once a month. So anyway, um, after that, let's see where I'm at now,
So
September.
did you ever speak to him about this?
I would speak to him, and to be honest, when we're talking, I would be the only most I would have most of the conversation. And this is when I felt like things were really going downhill because he would just sit there and say nothing. He would just sit there and say nothing. So at one point, there was a scenario where he would get a phone call 6 o'clock every morning. And I was wondering what was going on, but he claimed that with all that was going on, it was a pastor counseling him or praying with him or whatever. And I would say to him, so both of us are having problems. Why you're the only one getting the help? Because both of us are having the issue. So, if it's a scenario where both of us having the issue, then both of us need to get the priority counseling and all of that. And, and I mean, that would just go on deaf ears or whatever. So, that wouldn't steer off to anything. So in October, I mean, stuff happened September. He come in, sleep on the bed, his back turned to me, nothing happened, and all of that. So during the whole time he was living with me, though, there was some stuff that we really had to I'm not gonna get into the nitty gritty, but he would do his part. Like when I get up in the morning, he always would make my shake because I'm a Herbalife person. So he would make my shake for me and start the car because where we stay live is very cold. By that time, it's really cold
Mm-hmm.
and warm the car up. So I can't say everything was all negative. He would do that because I think that's what he saw his stepdad does for his mom. So he would do that for me, and then um, I'm not gonna bash him so bad because he was like, I'm hurrying and rushing, and I would like make my son's breakfast, leave a pot dirty in the morning because I can't get to wash the plate. I always wash it when I get home. He would take care of that, and so he would make my shake. He would start the car, and then because he's gonna be here all day anyway,
Mm-hmm.
so so that was a good part in the whole scenario. But anyway, in October week, because we always have an issue where I would say, well, you don't love me, we're not, nothing is going on. And then sometimes we would have a talk, and this was when I realized some things were coming out. Because at one point he said, and I'm not going to say it loud and clear, at one point he said that um, he wanted to marry me, and that's like way in October. Had just wanted us to get married, and he said with his mom, and I filed his paperwork.
Wait,
So
wait,
this
wait, wait, wait,
happened,
wait. What you say? Wait, hold on.
yes.
I wonder if that fly over everybody else head. What you say a while ago? Repeat that again.
That's what he said to me. All right, one night, I'm going to give you everything. One night, I was going to Walmart to get something. And I always tell him, I said, look, I really don't like it where it might not be a good thing, but I don't like when we go out and I know I have to spend the money, right? And you're going to stand there watch me pay for the stuff. So I told him, I said, if you know you're not gonna buy nothing, don't come. So he came anyway. So when I pick up what I need, and then just standing at me watching, and I paid. And when I got in the car, I'm like, so why you come then? I said, I told you if you don't need to buy anything, you don't have to come. I mean, people might say that's disrespectful, but I was kind of getting annoyed. I'm not getting any love. Nothing is going on in the relationship. So it's like I'm just there. So I told him, because at that point I was getting frustrated, and that very night I don't remember what he said, and we started talking back at each other, because one thing we have always not done is to fuss in the house where my son is. So at that time we were in the car by ourselves, and he said something to me. I don't remember specifically what he said. And I said to him, I said, if you shout at me one more time, I'm gonna leave you right here and you walk home. And then when I left the parking lot, we went to another place and stopped for me to go pick something up. And when I got back in the car, we were arguing. And he was saying, well, that's why I didn't want this. I wanted us to get married. I wanted to marry you, and I live with my mom, and you do my paperwork. Yeah, he said that.
That part that kind of
Hello?
have me baffled. That kind of have me baffled. Like, so at that moment, what got through your mind at that moment?
Well, at that moment, I've always kind of suspected with the breakdown in the romance piece and everything. I've always kind of think, well, it's gonna be a matter of time before everything goes AY.
No, this was
And
this was
honestly,
this was after you filed the paperwork or before?
this was after I filed the paperwork. This was in October after I filed the paperwork.
Wow.
So listen, so now what's going on now with this piece? Um, in October, all of this scenario started happening, and then this is when he would get real, and I mean, he would get real nasty, not nasty like aggressive, but nasty in his choice of words. And I keep a diary. I keep a diary whenever I get emotionally stressed out. Because at this time, I wasn't telling anybody anything. I didn't tell nobody nothing. I didn't tell my sisters. I mean, my folks back home don't even know all of this happened to me, right? So this one day we were arguing October 5th, and he told me some stuff like, "Oh well, we're not compatible. We won't make it." And at one point he said, "You want me to go on my knees and beg you?" I'm like, "Beg you what?" Well, at that point, I'm like, "Beg you to continue the paperwork." So I'm like, "You don't have to go on your knees and do nothing." So at that time, I really felt trapped. I really felt stressed out. And, I was kind of wondering, what am I going to do? Because no, I'm feeling used. So in October, at that very same time, he packed up and he left.
Alright, so if you want to find out where him pack up and go after him left, click the link down in the description. It will take you to the exact live stream where you can continue listening to hear how this all ended, right? While you're over there on Unstoppable Live, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications, so once we go live, you can be there on the live channel to participate while we're live. Call in, share your opinions, and also, make sure that you don't ever miss us when we go live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, right? Make sure to hit the subscribe button over here, set up on the recap channel, so once we drop a recap, you won't miss it, because as I said, there's possibility that you have not seen all the shows on Unstoppable Live, and this gives you a chance to catch up with some of them. All right, until the next Unstoppable recap, stay strong, stay motivated, but most of all, remain unstoppable. Unstoppable.